right, fellas, welcome back to another masterclass video. I work on getting you gentlemen at least one of these a month, and this is one of the pillars of the Renaissance lifestyle that I oftentimes talk to you gentlemen about. And so if you clicked onto this video, my assumption is that you're a man that is perhaps not doing the best in the intimacy sector of your life, in dating, relationships. And as all of these classes that I have here that I teach, this is going to be my philosophy, what I have learned as a man who has lived and dated all over the world, 30 plus countries, all types of backgrounds, religious backgrounds, you name it, as a man that has made tons of mistakes. I've made a bunch of mistakes. I've been very open about my past shortcomings, things that I've learned, but I've also had some fantastic relationships and experiences as a man. All right. That being said, man, bomba clock. Nah, man, I'm wilding for that, man. I'm gonna go move. Let's get into it, fellas. This is gonna be another banger. All right. So, the Renaissance Man's Guide to Dating. Now, I hear all of the excuses in the book, fellas. I'm a male transformation coach, so I come across all types of men. Myself, I used to be in what I call mental purgatory mentally. As with all of the material that I teach you guys here, I'm very big on radical accountability and us men taking accountability for who we are, what we don't have, what we want to experience. I believe it's all underneath us that we all have to take accountability. And so, why do I say that? I say that because you might think that your height or your stutter, in my case, I told you guys that I grew up with a speech impediment, your income, your dick size, yeah, we're getting very visceral and real today, right? Your balding hairline, shit, I had all of that. I'm about to get my second transplant in Turkey in probably a couple of months, just to continue with our honesty, right? You might think that all of that is holding you back, but the truth is, it's your insecurity itself, fellas, okay? That's what turns women off. And I had to realize this as I was going through certain insecurities in my life. And once I really started to do some of the internal work, you guys hear me talk about identity a lot and paradigm if you are not new to my channel. And once I started to do some of this work, even with less income or balding or whatever your excuses, you're short, you can still start to find yourself attracting really good quality women and having really amazing relationships. Okay. So when you are insecure, fellas, women can sense your lack of self trust. So that's the first thing that I want to talk about today before we even dive anything else is this need for us to be congruent as men. So let's cook, fellas. Let's dive in. Why, my bad, says what, which I get what I mean. Why the Renaissance approach? Okay. So the Renaissance man isn't defined by a single trait. You guys hear me talk about a man that is eclectic all the time. I always talk about we have to be Swiss Army knives of men. We have to be dynamic. Okay. At this point, that shit should be tattooed in your mind if you're somebody that regularly consumes my content. Now, he's a complete individual who operates from a place of wholeness and purpose. And I remember when I was lost, fellas, and I didn't have purpose, women didn't trust my leadership. And the reason why women didn't trust my leadership is because I didn't trust myself. A lot of us, we go to the internet or we might listen to podcasts or purchase books or might even hire some help to help us better certain areas in our lives. In this case, if you are somebody who has hired a dating coach, or if it's somebody that's watching red pill content or dating material to try to improve your texting game or improve your style or looks or whatever, so that you can get more attention from the opposite sex. All of that stuff is just like putting a band aid on an infection. The truth is, if there's an incongruence internally, it's going to show up and it's going to be felt. Okay. Which is why I always tell you guys that we have to be able to do the work internally in private so that when we are in public, we have this natural presence through us. So certain ideologies like the red pill make you rigid and one dimensional. I've already shared and spoken about my reservations on the red pill many times on this channel. Things that I do like that I think are beneficial, and things that I don't like about the red pill and certain ideologies. So the Renaissance archetype embodies four core qualities. Now, the first one is going to be being grounded in your values, in your identity. I have spoken to you guys about in many videos in my masterclass playlist and in my mindset playlist. You have to have a North Star. You have to have a creed. You have to know what you want. I talk to you guys every single day and I'll ask you a simple question. What is your goal? What is your North Star? And the majority of people cannot answer that question succinctly. So what that means is you're living every single day on autopilot, meaning you are a passenger in your own mind. So if you are a passenger in your own mind and you don't have values, defined values, how do you expect women to trust you, to fall underneath your leadership? Okay. This is the very first slide, fellas. And if you're struggling with this is one of the main reasons why you're unable to attract or maintain the exact women that you want in your life. And this was a tough reality check for me because I had all the ambition in the world, but it wasn't until I got definition and I got grounded in who I was and accepted myself, which we're going to talk a little bit about later on today in this slide or presentation. It wasn't until I got rooted in my identity that I noticed that I started to attract some really phenomenal women in my life. Secondly, charismatic through authentic presence. Are you charismatic or are you one of these guys that are rigid because you're watching all these red pill pieces of content? Are you one of these guys that lets things flow through your authenticity, or are you following a texting script? Are you one of these guys trying to do everything by somebody else's rule book, things that you heard online? Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You guys are fucking ridiculous, man. Thirdly, multi-dimensional with diverse interests. I told you guys you have to be that man that is eclectic. Who are you? Not who you pretend to be, not who you think you should be, not who you think society would like you to be. Who are you? Right? I get on here a couple times a week and I talk about some of my darkest moments. I talk about my past. I talk about things that are happening in the present. I don't give a fuck. I know who I am. And I have different interests. I like exploring different things, right? I live all over the world. I speak multiple languages. I'm a polyglot. I can mingle with any society, any type of people, any demographic because I'm multidimensional. And what I've noticed in my personal journey is as I started to break out of my own rigidity, because I was listening to so many different people, I started to form my own identity. And once I got rooted in my own identity, all of these interesting things that I used to have when I was a child started to flow through my manhood. And it started to create a beautiful, eclectic personality. That's why you guys see I'm so free on this camera. Like I just talk how I want to talk because I don't give a fuck, right? I am who I am. And that type of not giving a fuckness really attracts women like none other. And lastly, as I touched on briefly, is being purpose led, fellas, in all of your pursuits, okay? Or in all that you pursue. So this requires an identity shift and a spiritual shedding, which perhaps I'm gonna make another video specifically about shedding like spiritual weight, right? But once you're able to make this identity shift, which I have a plethora, a myriad of videos on this channel teaching you guys how to do that shit for absolutely free. So if you're new here after this video, make sure to go check out my mindset playlist and just binge all that material because it's really gonna behoove you and it's really gonna serve you and help you start to make some of these changes that are needed for you to not just attract better women, but for you to start living a better life. All right, let's continue. Now let's talk about my 7 dating principles. Now we start to get into the fun part, right? So these principles form the foundation of authentic masculine attraction. Okay. Each one builds on the last, creating a framework for genuine connection without manipulation or performance. I'll say that again. Genuine connection without manipulation or performance. Why did I say that? Genuine connection. Well, because you see all these guys online talking about tactics and what you should do and what shut the fuck up. All right. Everybody is trying to manipulate. But the thing is, when you're rooted in your identity, you don't have to try to manipulate because you're living your life. And a woman is going to agree, accept, and appoint you as the leader, or she's not. And that's okay. But you're not trying to manipulate anybody. Because when you're actively trying to manipulate, what are you doing? You're performing. Why would you be performing to attract women? Why would you be performing to attract somebody into your life who you're going to be paying all her bills? So what you're telling me is that you're going to work to get somebody that you have to take care of her entire life? Or are you going to be focused on yourself and have women naturally attracted to you and women asking to come be a part of your life? Which one do you think feels more natural? Which one do you think is more streamlined and aligned? Hmm? And so my 7 dating principles from my personal experience are these right here. Number one, leading without needing control. I posted a video last week where I spoke about um, how women will come into your life when you are a aligned man. And I believe that the best form of leadership is not leading by force, but when people want to follow you based off of their free will because they can see your competency. That's the best way to be a leader and to display leadership. And you only get there first by leading yourself in privacy, having that self-control, having that discipline. And so this is an internal game, fellas. We're talking about energetics here. And then from internal, you'll start to attract better women. Okay. Secondly, again, presence over performance. Everybody in society is wearing a mask, especially in this industry that I work in. But you only develop that presence, that authenticity by you being your full, complete self as a man. Who are you? Lean into your own archetype. As I always said before, there's no Renaissance man that's just the same, right? You guys are all different. You might be a gentleman that's more inclined to be an artist. You might be a gentleman that's more inclined to be a classic prototype man or whatever your type is, but presence comes from that inner congruence. Okay. Not every woman is going to find you attractive. That's fine. But as long as you find yourself attractive, as long as you like yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror, as long as you respect yourself, now you'll have that presence of a man who just doesn't give a fuck. Okay. Thirdly, magnetism through purpose. Fellas, when I was wandering around working all of these different jobs, I mean, I used to work at Publix, I used to be a server, I've driven Uber, taxi, I used to work in construction, I used to be a janitor. I mean, you name it, Dollar General. I was just working these jobs, drifting through life, not really knowing what I wanted to do. Well, I had an idea, but I didn't really start to actualize it and take the actions because I was a pussy. And that's just the truth. Like, if you know what you want to do, but you don't do it and you make excuses, you're a pussy, simply put, because you're afraid of what could happen or what might not happen. And so that's going to hurt your ego. Man, fuck your ego, fellas. Shit, I come on here every day and talk about the most intricate parts of my life. I don't give a fuck. I talk about how I was molested. I talk about how I had a stutter. I don't give a fuck. I need you guys to understand that sincerely. And so once you stop caring and you can just be yourself and just go for everything that you want, you start to find your purpose. And once you get aligned in your purpose, you become magnetic as a man. You guys have to let go of all this bullshit weight that you put on yourself psychologically. Get out of your own way. This goes so much deeper than just dating and attracting women. And this is what I want you guys to understand. You guys think it's just the external, that it's just women or working on the looks. Or no, it's not, it goes deeper than that. Especially in this modern day and age, women are searching for a man that is deeply self-mastered. And you only get there by the work that we talk about here. Number four is emotional congruence and seduction, right? You being aligned with yourself. And once you're aligned with yourself, you become seductive, which I'll dive into a little bit later. And then number five is respect her, but don't pedestalize her. And this is very important. I'm very big on respecting your woman, but don't put her on a pedestal. And this gets more important when you guys start getting the exact woman that you want. Because if you follow my work long enough, or if you have worked with me personally on a one-on-one level, all of my gym, all of my gentlemen start to attract the exact women that they want. And it's easy for you to kind of be a little bit dismissive when you're dating or seeing a woman that you deem as a six. But once you start to get into eight territory and nine, and you're dating with a stunning, gorgeous woman that is your exact archetype of woman that you know that you absolutely love, a lot of you guys start to compromise your own integrity, start to compromise your own purpose and things to please her, right? And that's when you lose the woman. So many of you guys cannot keep the actual woman that you want because you start to bend and you start to fall in love. Boy, we have a lot of work to do, fellas. So that's that. Moving on to number six is express with clarity, not fear. And what I mean is always living your truth. Always be truthful. I don't lie ever. I don't lie to my women. I don't lie. I tell the truth, even if it's gonna hurt somebody, right? I just tell the truth so I can sleep better at night. And lastly, be the prize without being a narcissist. Let's continue, fellas. So, principle one, lead without needing control. Direction, fellas, not domination, okay? Get out of this habit of being rigid, like you have to do this. Nah, you don't have to do nothing, man. True leadership comes from self-control, clarity, and confidence, not force. You guide the interaction naturally. So this goes back to what I was saying, man. Like when you start to watch all of this red pill content, or you start to, watch certain dating coaches online, you can see that a lot of these dudes, quite frankly, are cornballs. I'm just gonna say it how it is. You can see that a lot of these guys aren't really living the life that they say that they are. And I'm not taking shots at anybody. I'm just speaking my mind from observation. Relaxed authority. When you're secure in yourself, you don't need to control outcomes. Okay? Fellas, you can't control everything. And I know as men, we like control, right? I like control as well. But once I realized that I can only focus on, you know, what I had in my control and let everything else go, my life became so much more peaceful. So you simply direct your energy. Women are attracted to men who can hold the frame without gripping it tightly. No Diddy. Yeah, I got to get that out of there. No Diddy, no Sean Combs. Yes, sir. Now, you make decisions, you can suggest plans, right, and create that momentum, but you're not attached to any specific result. And the funny thing that I have found in my own dating life is that the paradox of leadership without neediness is magnetic. And for me, I used to be super rigid, super firm, super serious. And I am still a very serious man. When I'm focused, right? But I found that like me being that rigid and stiff, it was pushing away the women that I was seeing. And once I started to let go of that stiffness and accept all of my personality, and really I was stiff, I was like, man, if the chick doesn't do this, da 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 da, it's over. And it's like, well, to a degree, we can have boundaries, right? Which absolutely need to be respected on both ends, the same way she's gonna have boundaries. But you don't have to be so stiff, because the truth is there are nuances to life, right? There used to be certain things that I would say were absolute deal breakers for me. And most of those things are still absolutely deal breakers for me. I'm not going to lie. But as I started to experience different women and see different patterns, I started to say, okay, so there are some nuances. And I'll give you guys an example of one of those nuances because I'm a man of practicality. I used to say if a woman doesn't or didn't have a father in her life, there's no way in hell I'm dating her seriously. Well, I have also met women who, for example, the woman that I'm seeing right now, her father was killed when she was 9 years old, right? So there's a portion of her life where she didn't grow up with her father, but she's still a phenomenal woman, if I'm being candid. So that's just one small example of things that, fellas, there are nuances to when you're selecting a mate, when you're looking to bring a woman into your life. It's up to us to have that due diligence to be able to vet our women out thoroughly to see if she fits, is she a is she a piece that fits into your puzzle, I should say, and carry on with that vetting process as you see fit. For those of you that don't know how to thoroughly vet women, in my dating playlist on this channel, I also have a video on how to vet women thoroughly. I would advise that you watch that after this masterclass as well. So let's move on. Principle two, presence over performance, right? So women respond to state, not scripts, right? Women are very emotional and they can sense your emotional state, okay? And a lot of us, I believe, we start following these scripts because you guys are watching all this content online or just listening to other people. I don't even want you to take what I say as law. These are my experiences. You can dissect it, you can study it, you can do as you will. But always, fellas, be a man that thinks for yourself and control your own internal state. Now, the best technique is no technique at all. And that's why I tell you guys, like, stop using these techniques. You know what I mean? The best texting line, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to wait a couple of hours and I'm not just going to respond. If I'm on my phone and a woman texts me, I'm texting her back. Now, if I'm genuinely busy, I'm not going to text her back. Like, stop faking this shit, man. Stop. And that goes back to the rigidity thing that I was talking to you guys about. When you're fully present, calm, and grounded, and genuinely engaged, you create a magnetic field that draws people in. Not even just women, just people. You start to cultivate this executive presence, if you will, that just starts to grab people towards you. All right. This is for business. This is for friendship. This is for also intimacy with women. And so the dichotomy or the juxtaposition in this case is that performance comes from insecurity. I'm telling you right now, I used to perform because I used to want to fit in because I was deeply insecure. Okay. And so presence comes from being comfortable in your own skin, as I said before. You don't need to be, perfect or like to just be this guy that's like perfect, right? Like you need to be who you are. You need to be perfectly yourself. I'll put it that way. And so some quick bullet points here are stop trying to impress people and just start being real with all your flaws, right? That's why sometimes like you'll see like in my videos on this channel, if I burp, I just leave the burping because I'm human, I'm normal, I don't care. Like for example, at the beginning of this very video, there was a typo in the PowerPoint presentation. I could have stopped it and then went to go fix that and then started recording a brand new video. I don't give a fuck because you're still going to get the value from this material, right? And you'll probably be able to relate more for me because you see, like, I'm not this influencer that's just, nah, I'm a regular person just like you. Secondly, listen deeply instead of planning your next move, right? I'll say that again because a lot of you guys are impulsive and you're starting to take on traits of women. Listen deeply. Slow down, fellas. I know we're so neurotic, distracted by our phones, and everybody wants our attention. Slow down. When you're calm, you're poised, and you can slow down. This signals that you're confident and that you're rooted, that you're stable. And women find this magnetic. They find it deeply desirable. I'm telling you from experience. I used to be so sporadic and moving so fast, and now that I'm calm and I'm poised, I mean, women are just, anyway. Thirdly, let silence be comfortable, not awkward. I've spoken to you guys about using a pause to speak, taking your time and not feeling that you have to get out so many words, right? The issue these days is that everything is moving so fast. Some of you guys are probably watching this video on point 1.5 speed or whatever. Fellas, relax, man. What do you have to do? Look, what do you have to do after watching this video? Realistically, you ain't got shit to do. It's Friday. Nah, I'm talking shit. But yo, like, consume something and process, man. Be in control of your day. Be in control of your life, fellas. Slow down. All right. And let silence be comfortable. You don't always have to fill in the gaps of silence when you're on a date with a woman, and just chill. And lastly, let people talk more. You'll realize how much power you have. And I've spoken to you gentlemen about this prior. People will always reveal who they are, and you can get a glimpse of somebody's internal states and their beliefs by the words that they spew. So if you just slow down and just shut up and just listen and let people talk, because people love talking about themselves anyway, they're going to reveal who they are to you. And so this is how you can start vetting your woman thoroughly. You can ask certain questions, but then you can just let her talk, let her ramble, and observe throughout the weeks, throughout the months, right? That's all you gotta do, fellas. Let's move on. Now, let's talk about principles 3 and 4: purpose, congruence, and seduction. So, magnetism through purpose, fellas. You see, your mission in life is your greatest source of attraction. And when a woman sees you pursuing something meaningful beyond her, it creates intrigue, admiration, and respect. Men without purpose seek validation from women and the world. Men with purpose attract women naturally because they're living a life worth joining. And this goes back to what I've been talking to you guys about. Objectively, are you living a life that a woman would want to be a part of? Are you? Because if you are, you're going to magnetize women towards you, okay? You have to be rooted in your purpose, and a woman will want to come into your life. But if you have no purpose and you're drifting around and you're still trying to figure this out, whether you're in your 20s or 30s, there's even men in their 40s who are reinventing themselves and don't know what's going on, right? It's going to be tough for a woman to say, yeah, that guy, that's my best option. I'm going to submit unto this guy who doesn't even know where the fuck he's going. You see how that makes sense now when I put it that way? Okay. And so you have to have your purpose. Okay. And then, secondly, seduction. I'm a very seductive man. And I had to cultivate that aspect of myself. I wasn't always seductive because I was a fraction of myself. I didn't trust my own leadership. And so I couldn't even become seductive. And so seduction is the art of being felt without chasing. Okay. Now, part of seduction, fellas, again, goes back to you being poised, you being calm. And it's how you move, right? How you look at her without needing her. Okay. A lot of us men are super needy. I used to be needy. Okay. When I look back at my relationships of the past, I can learn from the times that I was needy and I came out of my masculine frame. How grounded your nervous system is when she's testing you. This is the big thing. When a woman is testing you, trying to see if she can break you, if there's chinks in your armor, are you responsive? Are you impulsive? My woman tests me. I just laugh at it, right? Because I now have the macro perspective to understand that that's just her nature. She wants to feel safe. So how is your nervous system when a woman tests you? Do you act or are you, yeah, that's cute, right? Are you calm? The Renaissance man doesn't seduce by performing. We don't perform, fellas. He seduces by staying rooted in his truth, even while holding tension. And what I mean by this is staying rooted in your truth. So even for me right now, right? I've got a girl, and clearly on this PowerPoint presentation, I'm presenting, I'm showing slides of me with multiple different women. And that bothers my current girl who I'm seeing, but I've explained to her what kind of business I have, what the vision is. And though she may not like it sometimes, she's on board and understands what we're building here. And so, a part of me could have said, well, hey, I'm just not going to show that anymore, or I'm just not going to do this. And even with this aspect of my life, which I'm going to be 100% transparent with you guys, where I'm currently at right now in life, I like to occasionally see multiple women. I don't go crazy with it, but every now and again, I like to see another woman. And I was very honest about that with my current girl from the beginning because I don't like to lie. I don't want to, hurt her and go behind her back. I don't believe that that's honorable. And I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing that I am lying and stringing somebody on. And so that way, as an adult, she has a choice of whether she wants to stay or if she wants to leave from her free will, right? And so though she may not like it sometimes, she has accepted and she understands. And that's just where I'm at in my personal life right now. We're humans, we're constantly evolving. I'm always subject to change. I'm always subject to saying, hey, you know what? I've experienced a good bit. I want to be with one woman now. And there's nothing wrong with whatever path you want to take, but I would advise you all to live in your truth, fellas. Stay rooted in your truth and don't lie and don't hide and don't be a fraction of who you are. And this is just me taking a moment to be extremely raw with you guys, extremely honest with you guys, right? And so because you're rooted in your truth, she leans in, not because you say the right words, but because your energy whispers, I could have you, but I don't, I don't really need to. Like for me, I don't have to have a girl right now. I'm a young man. I could bunker down and just continue busting my ass and grinding for the next decade to really establish something big. But I also understand that having a woman by your side is a fantastic thing. I love feminine energy. I love having a good woman by my side. And quite frankly, I love to spoil the woman in my life. I love to take care of her because she takes care of me. You know what I mean? So purpose, congruence, and seduction, fellas. When you're able to be rooted through your purpose and be rooted in your truth, there's this seduction that takes place because you know that you're a free man. And regardless of what happens, you're going to be you. One of the best ways to start the seduction process is just how you talk to a woman, how you look at her. Part of that entails dancing. I know a lot of you guys don't dance. Me personally, I'm not a dancer, but I've recently started learning, salsa, chata. I'm Haitian, so I dance compa, and just having that moment of intimacy with a woman and just dancing and just being able to guide and lead her in that way. It's a very beautiful experience that I don't feel like this generation even talks about, right? There's so many ways to dive into deeper intimacy with your woman outside of the bedroom, like outside of just like physical sex. And when you're able to master yourself several layers deep as a man and take this woman on a journey of deep, profound intimacy with you as her guide, it makes the connection that much more deeper. I'm telling you. So where when you guys finally do lay in the bed for that physical intimacy, it's explosive. And these are things that most men don't even understand. I mean, most men haven't made it past the very first slide that I'm talking to you guys about today. But if you really take heed to this material, fellas, not only are you going to have a fantastic sex life, not only are you going to have fantastic relationships, but the relationship that you cultivate with yourself will be impenetrable. So let's continue. Principles 5 and 6, balance and clarity. Respect her, but don't pedestalize her. Attraction dies the moment you abandon yourself to please her. Treat her well, obviously, but never at the expense of your own values and boundaries. She wants a man, not a fan. And I'll be honest again, I had so many relationships where I pedestalized my woman, right? Especially like once I started dating really attractive women, it was like this discrepancy in my identity. Like I was like, damn, like she's bad as fucking. I got her, and it's like, ah, man, that's the worst energy to be in, bro. You being a bitch. And I had to tell my former self, Dud, man, you being a little bitch, bro. And every time the woman would leave, every time, like you cannot bend your boundaries for anybody. You have to be rooted, like I said previously, in who you are. And so respect your woman, but never pedestalize her, ever. And so this is going to be super important for you guys as you start dating really attractive women. And if you do this internal work, you're going to start attracting really attractive women. Now you just have to do your due diligence to be able to vet them out and weed them out because looks are not everything, fellas. Once you start to operate from abundance and you have all these gorgeous women that want to be a part of your life, you now have to start filtering, right? And secondly, express with clarity, not fear. So know what you want and speak it, right? Like speak it without tension. Don't be tippy toe. Nah, like speak what you want, right? Direct communication from a grounded place is incredibly attractive. Like I said to you guys in the previous slide, right? I like to see multiple women. I don't go crazy. Like it might be a couple, but I told my girl that from the beginning as we were getting to know each other. And I said, hey, look, where I currently am right now is I enjoy a little bit of variety. And if we're going to be together, I don't want to hide anything from you. This is where I'm currently at. I'm always subject to change, but this is where I'm currently at. And I don't want to lie. In fact, I'm never going to lie to you. Do you accept who I am right now as a man? It took her a while. She did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I wasn't going to be running behind a girl who I really liked and like cheating and like lying. And no, everything is honest, right? This is where I'm at right now. And this is the rules that I have set up if you want to be with me. And as an adult, you're free to go. And I'll let you go with peace and love. But if you want to get on this ship, this is where this ship is going. And most men will never be able to do that because, especially if you get a really attractive woman, you're afraid of losing her. I'm not afraid of losing anything. I just lost my brother on my birthday last year. Ever since then, I've never fucking been the same. I don't give a fuck about losing anything. I'm gonna live in my truth, right? So once you get there, fellas, life becomes so much more streamlined, man. So don't beat around the bush because beating around the bush as a man signals insecurity. Speak directly, live in your truth, and tell her what you want, right? And so these two principles work together when you respect yourself enough to maintain boundaries and communicate clearly. Now, you naturally treat others with the right balance and respect and authenticity. Okay. Principle 7, fellas, be the prize without being a narcissist, confidence without performance. So there's a fine line between healthy self regard and arrogance. The Renaissance man shows his value without needing to broadcast it constantly, right? So with a lot of this content, as I said, it just tells you, oh, men are the prize. And okay, yeah, fellas, yes, we are the prize. We know that women hold the key to sexual access, but we hold the key to relationship. We are the prize. But fellas, let's not get it twisted. We need women. Straight up. I love having a great woman around me. We need each other. So let's stop acting like dickheads, right? Now, you know you're the cash, but like you're also genuinely curious about her and like what she brings to the table. And what I meant by that is like create space for your woman to be able to like express herself. Like for me, I love to create a safe space for me, my woman, to be able to talk about anything because this helps us dive into deeper intimacy and it helps the bond be stronger and more profound, right? So don't be a fucking asshole, bro. Like chill, man. Especially if you're a man right now who's on your shit, got your money together, got your body together, working on yourself mentally, spiritually, physically. You don't have to like flex muscle. Like this is your woman. You shouldn't be flexing on your woman or flexing on women anyway. When you competing with women, that's mad feminine. I'm just being honest. So just chill the fuck out. Know your value. Yes, value yourself, but don't feel the need to try to like prove anything to them. Because again, that turns them off. Why? Because that's going back to performance. And this is what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. A lot of these guys are teaching you how to perform. I want to teach you guys how to just be. Okay. Secondly, you're selective but not desperate, right? You're looking for compatibility, not just validation or conquest. And the reason I put the word specifically conquest is because conquest has a lot to do with ego. And I know for me, like I used to love just picking down large amounts of women. And even where I'm at right now currently, I'm not I'm not going crazy, you feel me? Like maybe maybe one chick, you feel me, every other month or like every other couple of months. Like it slowed down a lot. And I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you gotta be more selective. Like I'm a lot more selective with who I spend time with now because I love my life. I value myself. I'm building something and have built something, and I'm just cool. Like I'm good off of that. I'm good off of like just giving access to like multiple people. And like when I say like I enjoy multiple women, I'm talking about like it'll be the same person that I'm cool with. You know what I'm saying? We have an understanding. It's not like, oh my God, like she's so bad. No, it's like, bro, I'm cool. I'm chilling. And that's where I'm at right now in my life. And that's always something to change. And then lastly, you add value naturally, right? So your presence improves the room without trying to prove anything, right? So again, fellas, this goes back to not performing and you fully being yourself. Now, before we end today's class, I want to talk to you guys about common mistakes that we make as men, right? So even well-intentioned men fall into these traps. Recognizing them is the first step to correcting course. So first one is chasing validation, which we all have heard about this, right? Seeking approval instead of making her chase you. Now, I have gone on record to say many times, fellas, that a woman is best in a relationship when she is seeking the approval and serving and looking up to her man. Well, how do you create an environment to where your woman is seeking your approval? Well, everything I just spoke to you about today, you have to be focused on your purpose. You have to make room for you guys to be able to dive into deeper intimacy, right? You have to be able to be congruent, rooted and not performing, living in your truth. And as you are doing all that, you are exuding leadership quality. She's going to appoint you as the leader naturally, and she'll be seeking your approval and seeking your validation, right? The only validation that you as a man should be seeking is from yourself and from God. Okay. Now, over communication. I've said this before many times. Over spewing, over telling, over giving, filling in person or silence or digital silence with digital noise out of anxiety. And what I mean by this is if a couple of hours or a day goes by when you don't text or whatever, I mean, if you want to text, go ahead. There's no tactics. Or if you're on a date with a woman and there's a portion of the date where there's that awkward silence, just lean back in your chair. Take a deep breath. You don't have to fill in that gap and say something. Because what that indicates on a subconscious level is that you're not comfortable with silence. You're not comfortable with yourself. And you feel the need to have to interject and prove. These are all sub communication indicators that decreases attraction, even if it's unbeknownst to you. Thirdly, abandoning your purpose, dropping everything for romantic attention. One of the things that I used to do is I would love being around my woman so much that like I would kind of slack off a little bit on work. I kind of get a little bit comfortable. And we see this all the time happen with men. You get a wife, you start getting fat, you have kids, so you know you can't go to the gym like that. So you say you stop getting on your purpose, you get comfortable. That's the worst thing you can do. In order for your woman to keep on choosing you every single day, you have to keep on building and rising and increasing your value every single day until the day that you die. Until the day that you die. My dad is 70 years old. I was having a conversation with him last week, and he was telling me about why he chose my stepmother over my mother, right? We have brutally honest conversations. We have a fantastic relationship. And he told me that. And then he told me, man, you see, she tries to figure me out and tries to test me every single day. She's tried for the last 40 years, and she never has me underneath her thumb. I'm always two steps ahead of her. I'm always hustling. I'm always doing this. He said, son, even at my age, if I wanted a 25-year-old, I can go have her. Listen, man, Haitian OGs, man. But I'm just being honest with you, right? So never abandon your purpose. Always keep hustling, keep pushing, man. Don't get comfortable. And then lastly, I mean, how many times am I gonna have to say it? Do not perform, fellas. You know when you're performing. Performative nice, right? being nice to manipulate outcomes instead of being genuinely grounded. Now, this is that friend guy, that guy that gets friend zoned, but that's just orbiting around here just in case one day, things don't work out, things to slide in. Stop being nice to get something, fellas. Just be yourself, man. For real. And so these behaviors all stem from the same root, operating from scarcity rather than abundance and seeking external validation rather than internal confidence, fellas. Okay. And lastly, dating is just one pillar of the Renaissance lifestyle. There's actually 8 that I have in my program that I constantly talk about and teach our gentlemen. The Renaissance man is attractive because he's complete. Okay. And complete doesn't mean perfect. Complete means that you're constantly sharpening different edges of yourself. So across the board, you're dynamic. Across the board, you're a phenomenal man. Okay. And you're always growing. So this class, it wasn't really just about dating. Rather, it's about becoming a man who doesn't even need dating advice. Okay. When you build a life of purpose, passion, and presence, attraction becomes a natural byproduct. Okay. Women are drawn to men who have their lives together. There's no surprise there. Okay. Not because of tricks and tactics that you learn online, but because of gravity, right? You become magnetic when you are living fully, rooted in your own identity. And so dating is simply one dimension of a well lived life. Master yourself, and the rest follows. So, fellas, from here, I don't like to hard sell. If you guys got value from this, you know exactly what to do. You can apply to work with me on a one-on-one level with the Modern Day Renaissance mentorship, or you can click the second link and you can take a look, or you can purchase the Modern Day Renaissance Man Dating Playbook, right? Whichever situation or whatever fits best for the current chapter of your life. I'll see you guys in the next one. Salute, gentlemen. Have a fantastic weekend.